All right, let's dive straight into this explainer and take a journey deep into the microscopic world. We're going to uncover how your skin actually repairs itself, literally from the inside out. We spend so much time obsessing over what we can put on top of our skin. Creams, serums, moisturizers, the whole shebang. But the biological truth, the absolute most powerful anti-aging and repairing mechanism isn't something you can just rub on from a jar. It's something your cells are fundamentally programmed to do themselves. So today, we are going to unpack exactly what happens when you trigger a continuous 72-hour cellular reset.
It's a bit of a wild thought, right? But the reality is that the visible skin surface, the part you're actually looking at in the mirror every morning, known as the stratum corneum, is just a layer of dead keratinocytes. They've completely lost their nucleus, flattened out, packed themselves full of keratin, and now they basically just act as a physical shield against the outside world. So yeah, the face you're looking at is a beautifully organized graveyard of cellular debris. The true life of our skin, the constant division, the programmed changes, the synthesis of crucial proteins, all of that magic happens much deeper down in the basal and spinous layers, running on a cycle that takes about 2 to 4 weeks.
Section 1. The Secret of Autophagy. Let's look at your skin's ultimate quality control system.
To really understand how your deeper, living cells stay healthy, we need to introduce our microscopic hero, autophagy. Now, I know what you're thinking. Self-eating sounds like a pitch for some sci-fi horror movie, but I promise you, it is actually the ultimate cellular quality control system. Look, as cells are constantly subjected to oxidative stress and UV radiation, they inevitably accumulate a bunch of junk. Autophagy is the lysosomal degradation pathway that targets this exact junk. We're talking damaged organelles, misfolded proteins, and intracellular pathogens. It breaks them down and then recycles those components into fresh, usable molecular building blocks. It's an incredibly elegant, highly precise internal recycling plant.
And what makes this so fascinating is that this exact mechanism was systematically decoded by Dr. Yoshinori Osumi. His groundbreaking work identifying the ATG, or autophagy-related genes, was so monumental to our understanding of human biology that he actually won the Nobel Prize in Physiology or Medicine for it back in 2016. I mean, it completely shifted our entire understanding of how cells survive and maintain themselves.
Moving on to Section 2, the 24-hour switch. Let's see how nutrient deprivation triggers this whole thing. So while autophagy is always quietly humming along in the background, it really kicks into high gear under specific types of stress, most notably nutrient deprivation. When fasting begins, things change rapidly inside the body. Within just a few hours, what scientists call autophagy flux visibly starts to rise. By the 24-hour mark, cells seriously ramp up key regulatory markers, like Beclin-1. A vital protein called LC3I literally changes its form to LC3I, binding directly to the cellular garbage bags to signal that highly active autophagy is underway. And when you stretch that state out to 72 hours, you initiate a massive, sustained internal reset.
Section 3. Rebuilding skin's foundation. This is where we focus on the dermis and your fibroblasts.
Deep down in the dermis, your fibroblasts act essentially as factories manufacturing collagen. And remember, collagen makes up a whopping 80% of your skin's dry weight. This perfectly illustrates why autophagy is an absolute game changer for aging. In a diminished autophagy scenario, misfolded collagen precursors just build up. This causes intense stress and basically halts the secretion of new, healthy collagen. But flip the script to sustained autophagy, and a very specific pathway called FAM134B selectively clears out those misfolded precursors. It clears the traffic jam, allowing the cell to seamlessly secrete fresh collagen and preventing the visible aging that happens when damaged fragments block up the assembly line.
Section 4. Clearing pigment and inflammation. Time to take out the cellular trash.
So moving up from that deep foundation to the surface-level issues that we all care about, like dark spots and uneven tone, brings us to a highly specialized process called melanophagy. Melanin is packaged into these tiny little transport vehicles called melanosomes, which are then distributed into your keratinocytes. Research establishes a direct causal link here. Autophagy dictates exactly how efficiently these melanosomes are broken down. This specific recycling process governs how pigment is distributed across the epidermis, directly impacting how bright and even your skin looks.
And beyond just pigment, the sheer variety of general cellular garbage getting recycled is pretty amazing. We're talking misfolded proteins, dysfunctional mitochondria, oxidized lipids, and even pathogens. Here's the kicker. If you don't clear this debris out, your cells start to panic. They activate a complex called the NLRP3 inflammasome, You can think of this inflammasome as a loud, blaring cellular fire alarm. When it detects all this floating garbage, it triggers the production of inflammatory cytokines, things like interleukin-1 beta and interleukin-18. This causes chronic, low-grade inflammation, which is directly tied to acne, rosacea, and accelerated photoaging. Autophagy literally sweeps up the debris before anyone even has a chance to pull that fire alarm.
Okay, Section 5, mitochondria and the barrier, maintaining our cellular powerhouses. Believe it or not, cellular energy and your skin's hydration barrier are incredibly deeply connected. Mitochondria generate the energy your skin cells need, but as they age and accumulate damage, they start leaking this toxic oxidative exhaust. Enter the pink-1 Parkin pathway. It's an elegant 4-step process where the cell selectively destroys these damaged powerhouses. First, the mitochondrial voltage actually drops. Then, the pink-1 enzyme accumulates. Next, Parkin swoops in and tags the damaged mitochondria for destruction. And finally, autophagy consumes it. After a 72-hour reset, your cells are left with a fresh, high-voltage, incredibly clean population of mitochondria.
So the crucial point for us is that this exact same quality control extends straight to your skin's moisture barrier. As those living cells migrate upward to become that protective dead layer we talked about earlier, they absolutely have to synthesize key barrier components in a very strict order. We're talking about filaggrin, which breaks down into your natural moisturizing factor to hold in water, loricrin for structural integrity, and claudin-1 to form the tight junctions that seal the spaces between cells. Studies show that when autophagy is deficient, these proteins fail to express properly, which leads to extreme dry skin, abnormal scaling, and a severely compromised barrier.
We see another incredibly powerful contrast when we compare an aging fibroblast to a youthful one. When autophagy starts to slow down, a transport protein called P62 begins to accumulate. This buildup stabilizes another protein, GATA4, basically turning the cell into this zombie-like state known as SASP. The cell essentially stops doing its job and just sits there, pumping out harmful aging signals and enzymes that actually degrade your collagen. But in youthful fibroblasts with high autophagy flux, that P62 is continuously cleared out, pulling the cell entirely away from that toxic senescent state.
And finally, Section 6, the 72-hour reset. Let's look at the cumulative molecular shift.
After seeing the unbelievable molecular choreography happening inside these cells, we arrive at the climax of it all. I absolutely love this quote from the source research because it shifts our entire perspective. The lysosomes, the little structures that perform the final breakdown step, they actually cycle through their contents in just a matter of hours. Therefore, a 72-hour period isn't just one big sweep of the broom. It enables repetitive processing that fundamentally resets the cellular environment. It's like doing a deep clean on your house over and over again for 3 days straight. It massively drops the cumulative damage load, completely freeing up the cell's resources to focus on synthesizing beautiful, healthy new skin components.
We spend billions of dollars globally trying to fix the very outermost layer of dead cells, all while ignoring the breathtaking biological engine operating just beneath the surface. If true skin health, bright pigmentation, tight barriers, and youthful collagen all rely on this incredible internal recycling system, what are you doing to keep your cells hungry? Think about how you can incorporate periods of nutrient deprivation to flip that 24-hour switch and tap into your very own cellular reset. Thanks for joining me on this deep dive into the microscopic world of your skin. See you next time.